seconder usually when I propose this, but I don't care. I don't need a seconder. My own opinion is enough for me, and I claim the right to have it defended against any consensus, any majority, anywhere, any place, any time. And anyone who disagrees with this can pick a number, get online, and kiss my ass.
Just a good old boy, never meaning no harm. Beats all you never saw, been in trouble with the law since the day they was born. Straightening the curve, flattening the hill.
Have you seen that?
So what you just saw there was a...
Someday the mountain might get them, but the law never will. Making their way the only way they know how. That's just a little bit more than the law will allow. Just a good old boy, wouldn't change if they could. Fighting the system like a true modern day Robin Hood.
And the second this evening in the southern half of the county, and we have live coverage of both. Let's begin with the one caught on camera. It was a wild car chase through Bay Minette, ending with an officer bitten by a suspect and a suspect bitten and subdued by a canine. 2 other officers were injured. The suspects have been arrested.
Brianna Hollis is live tonight outside the Bay Minette Police Department.
Never mean it no
all day.
Beats all you never saw.
Alexander, the chief himself, went so far as to call this a quote Dukes of Hazzard-like situation.
No kidding.
Out the window to an officer getting grabbed. Take a look.
Intense moments outside American Pride gas station on Kent Avenue.
I think he's being dragged or drugged. Ranger's here, he could correct me.
Reaches his hand in, trying to put the car in park, but the suspects get away, slamming the officer into a U-Haul truck.
He's got scrapes and bruises and cuts on his elbows and one side of his face.
The truck rushes out of the parking lot backwards with the doors open.
Throwing stuff out of the windows, tools, hammers, stole drugs, stolen firearm from the vehicle. All that has been sexually covered.
The chase lasts about 45 minutes, up through Stockton and back into Bay Minette.
Speeds around 100 miles an hour.
The truck blows through yards, heading through a cul-de-sac on 10th Street. And at one point starts winding
10th Street in Bay Minette.
until officers were able to trap the truck
Dukes Ave?
at the dead end of Quinley Road. Now,
That's the first one, right?
Police say Marksville Road was the driver, Terry Boffinchik.
When they're two of them?
Passengers seemed
Yeah.
in the backseat.
Passenger of the vehicle complied.
That's Boffinchik, who you see here. As for Manning in the backseat,
And during the arrest, he bit one of the officers, causing a severe laceration to his finger.
Selgrove also
Finger.
resisted and was taken down by a canine.
Oh.
Now, 2 of the officers that responded were actually school resource officers who happened to be in the area at the time. As for the suspects, they're all from Florida with lengthy criminal histories. It's still unclear why they were here in Bay Minette. Reporting live in Bay Minette, Brianna Hollis, WKRG News 5.
They're going to check the canine.
That face.
But you got these yahoos. He's going down the road 100 miles an hour, throwing everything out the window. Like nobody's going to notice, right?
I think this whole thing started with a call from someone at a gas station where these people were suspicious. Suspiciously sitting in the parking lot.
Yeah. At a gas station.
All right, so no representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed are greater than the legal services provided by other lawyers. I'm Harry Steele, Backwoods Southern lawyer. Got my sidekick and partner in crime, Mr. Paul Rip, with me here today.
Rip Report, Baldwin County Legal.
And so it is Backstory Podcast number 73.
Wow.
The golden calf of CPAC. So do you know, have you seen that statue?
No.
Well, it's no kidding, legit. and people are taking pictures with it. And so I did a little, what is CPAC, Conservative Political Action Conference. They're having a conference right now in Orlando, Florida. There's a have you ever seen anything that bizarre? What's up with the magic wand and shit?
I don't know. I didn't see this till you showed me just
This
now.
is crazy. Look at this.
This is at CPAC.
Yes.
Oh wow. Ah, there's our man.
There, well, somebody's man, U.S. Senator Ted Cruz, Corn Road. You saw Saturday Night Live, right?
Oh yeah. He just got back from Mexico.
Got back from Mexico while they were in a hard freeze.
Mhm.
So he speaks to cheering crowds at CPAC at the Hyatt Regency in Orlando on Friday. The turd burglar, Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida, says the old way of being Republicans will never let that happen again.
What does that mean?
That he's going to carry the Trump mantle forward.
Well, that will be different.
I just love this picture. I don't know who took it, but damn. Fantastic photojournalist. So then McConnell comes out and says if Trump's the nominee, he would back him for president if he was the party's nominee. And these are the kinds of things that are popping up. Now, I don't believe this is the golden calf from the Old Testament, but that's the kind of stuff going on. So anyway, millions were without power after a deadly winter storm last week. We're talking about Ted Cruz and other people traveling to old Mexico to beat the not have to put up with the blizzard while people froze to death in their recliners.
Well, that's not only that, the broken pipes, everything that came with it, food shortages. I mean, Texas got hit really hard this time. No kidding.
So we have a special message from Raines, and I have not read this previous. As much as I want to sit down and Zoom in today's podcast, I'm serving the one hot meal that matters in Houston, and I hope you may forgive my absence when I was not orchestrating exciting games like Who Said It, Harry Steele or George Wallace, or speculating on the Fairhope City Council or RICO indictment. I work with disaster relief organization called Operation Barbecue Relief. Operation Barbecue Relief is a group of volunteers born out of competitive barbecue community that has grown exponentially since they started cooking for folks affected by the tornado in Joplin, Missouri back in 2011. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but if you have some extra money in your pocket and you want to help a worthwhile organization, go check out Operation Barbecue Relief at obr.org.
And Raines is putting in like 12 hours today.
Yeah, or he'd be here. Oh, and I was ugly about him. I can't say something nice about him without. Please, if you carry the ginger gene, be sure to marry a Native American or Asian person because it's impossible for you to have ginger offspring. Okay,
what
Operation.
What world was that? The hell are you talking about?
They're weird, soulless little people.
Oh my God.
Operation Barbecue Relief. They're having a cook-off at the Houston Rodeo also this year.
Is that Raines too?
Yeah, this is Raines' bunch, and
okay.
you see here. I guess this is their 9th time they've gotten together and done this. So everybody's signing T-shirts and doing things. Or I guess that's their 9 millionth meal. How many zeros is that? 9 million.
9 million.
So they've given away 9 million barbecue sandwiches.
That's a lot.
Or however they do it. Okay, so time for some good news.
All right.
You ready?
So y'all need.
Yeah.
What do you think it is?
I don't know. Okay.
Oh,
I quit. The Rip Report. Any of you that are not familiar with the Rip Report, you can go on ripreport.com. You can also catch us on Facebook under Rip Report or Baldwin County Legal Eagle. We really started looking at Fairhope Council almost 14, 15 years ago. And I tell you, I had a call from somebody today and they said, how in the hell can such a little town have so much drama? and it really is. But anyway, the Freaky Friday this week is I Quit. If you read it on the .com site, you'll see that we have links in there to different articles that go back in time and hash out some of the history over this whole thing. But the Fairhope City Council that served during the last cycle, 2016-2020, was the least productive of any council in memory. And most of the council, the 3Bs especially, use their office for personal gain. And then I have a link to the Spiderweb article by the Rip Report. And you can also go to Lanyap and go under Straw Man, and you'll see the depth of corruption.
Okay, so I'm going to speculate about something here.
Yeah.
Since the pandemic started, I have been in Montgomery 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
How many times have you been up there?
2.
So all 5 times I've been up there since June. Well, that's not fair. I've been up there 3 times since June, since you filed your complaint against Mr. Brown.
Right.
Or refiled it.
Right.
And I just think that moved the needle.
Well,
and if you know how these investigations go, and I'm not saying that there was that this came to pass, but a lot of times when there are investigations, a lot of times if people leave office, there's no interest in pursuing said investigation.
It's true, but the basis of my article is that when you resign from something, you give them notice a month or weeks.
Didn't Joe Davis, our current county commissioner, he resigned from the Daphne City Council
abruptly,
and then ran for office again, and nobody seemed to care.
Right.
So,
well, this should send some red flags up for sure, because that's not a resignation. If you say, well, I'm out of here tonight, this is the end of my time, that's quitting. That's walking off.
And that's after
done.
He's only been in office for 6 months. And then, of course,
mm-hmm.
and remember, he's a catalyst candidate, right?
It's correct. He's given very little explanation as to what's going on, other than the fact of something to do with family property, and he's got an opportunity to
smells a little thin to me. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity to move to Marlow.
Right. And but I don't know. It's very interesting. The thing I take point with, though, is
he lives in the only bad neighborhood in Fairhope.
Yeah, right. But Burrell announced the resignation as being effective immediately on Monday night, and admitted that he knew about the possibility of Mr. Brown leaving the council for a couple of months or several months. Then in closing, he says that he knows that this announcement is a shock to everyone. He said that in the same conversation.
It's like when you're the WHO and you show up and say, I'm here to look for coronavirus, and they say, great, bend over, we're going to shove a punch stick up your butt.
And the council genuinely looked shocked. So who knows what over the last couple of 3 months. But
I don't know, but here's the thing, they're going to appoint, there's no danger of anybody radical being appointed. They're going to appoint another catalyst candidate, and they've already suggested
Brown quit. When he quit, in the same breath, he recommended Jay, aka known as Marble Mouth Robinson, who was the only councilman not to run in the last cycle. So Brown quits, recommends someone who didn't run for re-election. What the hell? And if this sounds stupid, this is why some people refer to Fairhope as faux hope. The silent majority of Fairhope is soundly asleep. So anyway, no one has mentioned, as far as the past councilmen that tried to run and they weren't successful, they're just going to pick out Mr. Robinson, who didn't run, and try to slide him in that spot. I hope that the citizens of Fairhope don't allow that to happen. The citizens should have something to say about the next council person. They should go to Deb Hopkins and Joshua Gammon, and the third one I will think of in a second. But I mean, there needs to be maybe other people that are interested in running, not appoint somebody that just got out.
And remind everybody, you allege that he is business partners with former state senator Boom Boom Trip Pittman.
No, Cliff Pittman.
Cliff Pittman.
Right. Mr. Pittman is with Single Tax Corporation. And that is kind of the link that was used in the contract for the Fairhope Arts Center in question on the Ethics Commission. Now, I don't know. He could have been given an alternative by the Ethics Commission to resign or else, but I don't have that much faith in the
But there was a
Commission.
pending ethics complaint.
It has, I don't know that I would say pending as much as for sure ongoing, because conversations and stuff were ongoing with me and the Ethics Commission.
So in other news, lottery and casino bill vote was delayed. Senator Dale Marsh plans to work on proposal over the next 2 weeks after we were assured it was going to be signed by the governor anytime.
And it still has to have a referendum. So we're talking about 22, 23 before we ever see something.
Now, it's a joke.
Right.
Right. All the same forces are still in play. PCI gaming, every state around us benefits from us not having gaming, and especially lottery.
The Indians do a pretty good job at what they're doing. So maybe the best thing to do is just let them do it, check.
Okay. Well, regardless of how good of people they may be or how good of friends I may be with them, anybody having a monopoly is not a good thing.
Having nothing is not a good thing either.
Yeah, well, that's true too. So Biden Secretary of Defense is moving to purge white supremacists from the military, and back to back with the story, U.S. carries out airstrikes in Syria targeting Iranian-backed militia.
Yep, that came out of left field. I didn't see that coming.
So is everybody like Israel's right here? This is Egypt. This is the Med, Iraq,
right.
Persian Gulf, Kuwait. Anyway, just so we all know where we're talking about, Turkey's up here. And so then you see the storage. I guess it was a chemical weapons kind of deal they were trying to blow up.
I'm not sure of the facility.
Yeah. Strikes Syria over its use of chemical weapons. And if you saw 60 Minutes this past week, that was unbelievable. Unbelievably horrific.
Horror story.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm just thinking $5 million, an AC-130, me, you, and Reigns slip over there, take care of these Assad son bitches.
Oh.
Okay, so holding Syria President Bashar al-Assad, do you know what his father's name was, right?
No.
Half-ass Assad. So this is Bashar full-ass Assad, who murders his own people with chemical weapons.
He's U.S. educated as well.
And his wife is British. Mm-hmm. And she was going to lead in this new era of reform in Syria and all this, and it's the same old shit. People, they cutting each other's heads off with swords in the sand for 1,000 years or 3,000 years. And they'll be doing it for another 1,000 years.
When he first came into power,
everybody was
optimistic.
Right.
They said, oh man, maybe he's going to turn this around. Well, my God, he went totally, absolutely the other way.
Putin must have a picture of him with women peeing on the bed or whatever, whatever he had on Trump. He must have a whole lot of it on Assad.
I'm telling you. Horrible.
All right. So coronavirus numbers, 28.4 million infected in the U.S. with 508,886 deaths. So half a million people have fallen to the pandemic.
I think about 23 or 24 million now have completed the 2 shots.
So worldwide, 113,207,169 confirmed cases with 2,511,767 deaths. 28,423,000 in the United States with 508,866 deaths. Alabama, 491,000 849 cases with 9,869 deaths. Alabama to date has received 1,087,000 vaccines, and we have administered 840,000.
There's also a good article in Lanyap. New twist coronavirus variant emerges as traditional cases plummet. Dale Leash and Gabe Times, if you want to read up on that.
So I don't know if you saw it this morning, whitehouse.gov streamed it live. There was a White House coronavirus response virtual briefing from their White House response team.
Mm-hmm.
And you had people from both the CDC and the Institute for Infectious and Diseases. My good pal, Dr. Fauci, was on there, lying to everybody some more. But they did have some technical information about the new strains and variants, and everybody should go watch this. It's very good information. Robertsdale Walmart starts vaccinations today. For some reason, none of the Walmarts in Baldwin County had vaccines.
What age is this? Or
this is
there a limit?
65 and over, and well, I could go get it. I think it's legal profession, frontline workers.
Yeah.
So remember me telling you about the WHO? China refused to provide the raw data on the
Right.
Yeah. So guess what happened when they got there?
What?
They gave the American diplomats anal COVID-19 tests. Insult to injury.
Absolute injury. Here, we want you to have all the research you can get. Bend over, please.
Bend over, please. Speeding up the vaccinations. We talked about this before. There's 200 million doses of vaccine that are coming. There are going to be 100 community vaccination centers, and we're finally getting the lead out in Alabama and getting this stuff into people's arms. I still say if there was if a nuclear weapon went off in Wuhan, China, and there happened to be a Wuhan Institute of Nuclear Research, I don't think that anybody would have a problem with my objection to everyone saying there's no way this thing came from a lab that was playing with these things in Wuhan, China. I just don't believe it, and I'm never going to capitulate on that
unless there's
definite evidence. But this thing is too elegant to have fallen out of a bat's ass into a pangolin's mouth,
right?
And then did triple backflips and landed in a person.
Never say never.
Okay, well, so more good news, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look at that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, we're down back to where we were back in October.
Yeah.
And my theory is all of the stupid people who were going to get sick have. This is all the dumbasses that we got.
Oh, man.
They all got it.
Oh, don't say that.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
And that includes people that are deniers too.
Yeah.
They're not just that they're stupid. They're smart enough to know better, and they still go out and get sick.
The mask work, folks.
Which is what we've been saying from the get-go.
And even if you get both vaccines, you still should social distance and wear the mask until this is really beat down.
Here's the chart that I like to show everybody each week for Alabama. You can see the numbers are just tapering right off.
Right.
Vaccine doses administered, how to find out where you can go get your vaccine, and the different kinds of vaccines and all the ways that it might harm your body.
And they're about to add the Johnson & Johnson.
I didn't know they give you one in the Johnson.
No.
Let's see. Biden's $1.9 trillion relief plan unveiled. That thing's still turtling through the Congress. When you said we're gonna get a check.
I think
$1,400.
it'll go through the federal minimum wage. It seems to be the issue at $15 an hour. I do not understand the argument.
Romney's now in a bidding war. He said, "How about 10? Do I hear 10?"
Well, I know, but I mean, come on, man. You mean tell me we can't boost up the economy a little bit? a minimum wage at $15. What's that? 600 a month.
Yeah, I know. There's this
600
whole
a week.
There's just this whole all these economic principles that fly in the face of it.
2,600 a month. Are you kidding?
So, Dr. Fauci, you're the wind beneath my wings. Julia Roberts presents Act of Courage Award to Fauci. You have been a beacon of bullshit and fake information for all of us, and we just
Beth.
like you so much. You're our little pocket doctor, you cute little fella.
Please be advised, that's Harry Still.
That is my opinion, and I do not like
Right.
him. He is a liar, and he should be running. If we're going to build a guillotine or something,
Okay, just as long as you own it.
I own it.
All right.
Governor Ivey signs lease agreements for the Alabama prison program.
Now you talk about
Have you seen any plans yet?
That big.
Do you know who the principals are of these companies? There's so many this thing stinks to high heaven. It's almost as ridiculous as thinking that the people of this area of the Gulf Coast need to spend $2 billion for another way to get over this damn swamp over here.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Which started out at something like 800 or 900 million.
Oh yeah. Well, then the Elliott family and some other folks got involved. All these people that got left out or who didn't have political influence the last time we did a toll bridge that was unnecessary. I'm talking about the Foley Beach Express.
Right.
And all the people who can now afford to buy shit that ain't for sale, like the Floribama.
Uh-huh.
All right. So the Baldwin County Mental Health Court bill passes. Remember, we've been kicking that around for a while. And I believe they were talking about taxing CDB oil to pay for this.
That was mentioned.
Do you remember that?
Right. Well, that was one of the ingredients.
Well, and just, I don't have a slide set up for it, but the Senate moved the medical marijuana bill out. It's out of committee in the Senate, and it's my understanding that it shall die in the House committee.
Well, I mean, it's just like the lottery too. It's a revenue stream. At one side we got the prisons dragging us. We're going to spend $3 billion on prisons. We have nothing incoming. We can't get a lottery done after 20 years. And now you're sitting here with you got the revenue on medical marijuana or decriminalization of marijuana. The one part about decriminalization is the amount of folks that wouldn't go to jail for some dumbass thing about a little bit of weed. I mean, that's one of the bigger crimes in the whole thing.
So the coronavirus variant emerges as traditional cases plummet. So you saw that,
right?
It's just falling off. Like I said, all the dumb people that were going to get sick got sick.
Right.
Now, with this new variant, they're saying that you can get sick again.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right.
And it's like twice as transmissible.
Right. This is an article that Harry's reading, titled from in Lanyap with Dale Leash and Gabe Times.
Oh, speaking of not cool, U.S. Attorney Richard Moore stepped down this week.
Right. Southern District of Alabama.
Mm-hmm. He's our U.S. attorney down here. So, and this is typical that they would resign. But guess who hired him?
That was Obama, wasn't it?
Jeff Sessions.
No, Sessions.
He's been there for
what am I talking about?
40 freaking years.
Yeah. Well, that's why very little has gotten done in this area.
Exactly.
I mean,
if you want to if you want to know who's responsible, this guy right here.
This could be.
The last time they prosecuted anybody for political corruption in Baldwin County was Steve Russo in 2006.
06.
Yeah. Just hadn't been any corruption since then.
Orange Beach. No, it's been perfect. Nobody doing anything here.
Okay. So back to some good news. You ready for some?
Yeah, let's hear it.
All right. So there's an archery event down in Foley.
Yeah.
And you know how I like my recurve bow, right?
Right.
So this is these aren't primitive bows. They're some of them are shooting bare bow, meaning they don't have that little front sight stabilizer and all that stuff.
Right.
I call that a sissy bow. It's not quite as sissy as a compound bow because it doesn't have a let off. You still have to hold it here.
One of the first things they were going to do on the triangle, was build an archery range on a $20 million piece of property.
That'd be a hell of an archery range.
That's what I thought.
You must have money to burn if you can do that.
Oh,
So
that went down the tubes.
but this is actually going on. It's an outdoor event. If you go down, like you're going to Wolf Bay,
Yeah.
there's a park down there where they have this, and Hoyt Archery is the sponsor. And if you're looking for something to do this weekend, it's 78 degrees out right now.
This indoors, the one shot's indoors.
That's not what they're doing this year, though.
Oh,
So like
okay.
the finals will be indoors, and not many people will get to see it. Anyway, if you're looking for something to do this weekend, House passes bill to bring back retired judges to deal with case backlog.
Bad idea.
Other bad idea bills to keep on your radar. Alabama police seek new tool in war on drugs. Wiretapping with House Bill 17. All right, Paul,
Yeah, I saw this.
let's talk about the letter.
the letter from Gulf Shores police captain.
Edward Delmore, chief of police. So he writes a smart ass little letter to the governor of Illinois saying this new bill that y'all just passed, I had to, because of the political culture in Illinois, he got the hell out of there and moved down here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, he's brought a bunch of people down here with him. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
Yeah, a couple of his buddies have come down here with him too.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's saying if you keep kind of doing this kind of stuff, nobody's going to want to be a cop. Gulf Shores police chief has written an open letter to Illinois Governor JB. How do you say that? Thanking him for a proposed law that will radically change Illinois law enforcement. Delmore says the chiefs around the country will benefit by getting some excellent police officers to choose as they flee the state. Illinois House Bill 3653 was authorized by the Illinois Legislative Black Caucus and approved by both houses within hours. It is being called a criminal justice reform bill. However, it is most radical approach to fundamentally changing law enforcement we have ever seen, and the bill will create tremendous danger to the citizens of Illinois and a hazard for any cop working in the state.
And what exactly
does this sound
is it?
okay? Well, here we go.
Okay.
It requires police to provide another offense. You can't just arrest somebody and charge them with resisting arrest, right?
Uh-huh.
They had to resist arrest as you were trying to take them into custody for committing a crime.
Uh-huh.
If you just walk up to somebody and end up banging their head against the damn curb because they wouldn't comply with whatever you said, then the first blame will be placed on the officer themselves on why the resistance occurred.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Unless you're coming out of somebody's house with a bag full of tools and something under your arm, you really shouldn't be harassed or molested by the police.
Right.
So it eliminates monetary bail, which is a dumbass idea. Okay. So just imagine this. You get arrested for DUI in Alabama.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a $1,500 bond, right?
Right.
Somebody's got to pay $150 to a bail bondsman. That bail bondsman, if you don't show up, has to pay $1,500 plus they're going to come hunt you down, right?
Right.
All right. There is no monetary bail there. Everybody gets out on a recognizance bond. So then they don't show up and a failure to appear warrant is issued for them. And you'll probably catch them about 2 years from now when they knock over another liquor store or something. You know what I mean?
But
there's no incentive for anybody to hunt these people down when there's no cash bail.
They probably, though, are tagged by some.
I don't deal with probably. I deal with what's in the code. Okay. So prohibit agencies from publishing booking photos. You know how they did the thug tree and all that kind of stuff?
Right.
Affidavits no longer required for police misconduct complaints. See, here's the problem. And you and I run into this all the time. When you file a complaint against a judge,
mm-hmm.
they tell them everything about you, who the complaint was, all that kind of stuff, right?
Right.
So that's the thought process here. You no longer have to provide an affidavit and disclose who you are just to file a complaint.
Well,
They're saying there's no accountability, but if it gets to the point where they actually do an investigation, obviously the person can no longer remain anonymous, right? Okay, it removes discipline from collective bargaining. That sounds like a damn good idea. Like, oh, you can't discipline him. He's the shop foreman. That's bull crap. And then complicates use of force according to long established reasonableness standards of the Supreme Court. And it requires the use of body cameras statewide by 2025 and makes it a felony to turn off or on the camera. How about that? Or to doctor any footage on the part of law enforcement.
Hey, what do we got the cameras for?
Well, besides the monetary bail, all this stuff sounds real reasonable to me.
Right? Don't tell me he turned the damn camera on and off. Now, one thing
so let's
about the chief that I did like was he was an instructor, I believe, in his hometown there for non-lethal weapons.
Mm-hmm.
So
he had to spread that around.
Yeah, could talk to Sheriff Mack.
Mm-hmm.
Just a couple months ago, through one of our law enforcement partners up on the East Coast, and through an association that we had called the FBI National Academy Alumni Association, and they heard about it from one of those individuals, and we inquired about the product, and they came and showed the product to us. Our mental commitments in Baldwin County have really went up over the past few years, and so we decided this would be a good less than lethal device that we might be able to use, because a lot of times when we go out to get these individuals that are on a mental health commitment or a probate commitment, they do somewhat resist, they are agitated, and this is just another tool that we can use without causing injury to that individual, but also without putting our deputies at risk as well.
Is the range similar to that of a taser?
It is very similar, depending on the circumstances that you might have, weather, things of that nature, the size of the room. It can go out to about 20 feet. And so the range is very similar.
And do you have enough of these wraps for all of your officers in your department, and have you had to use any of them yet?
At present time, we don't have enough for every deputy. We do have them on every shift, and we do have them primarily with our deputies that are handling our mental commitments, and also we've deployed them for use in our correction center. We do have anticipation of purchasing some more, and as of this date, we have not used the device on any individual outside the department yet.
Okay, well, this sounds like you said, less lethal, and it sounds like a very good option. So glad Baldwin County has this option. And thank you again, Sheriff, for your time.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
Very good move. Every officer should have one in the car.
You think?
Yep. I know that Jonathan Victor would be alive, and possibly Mr. Yates.
Maybe. So the Fairhope band director was arrested for possession of obscene material. Any update?
Nothing.
Mobile Bay Bridge back underway.
Still scribbling on that.
The great negotiator Jack Burrell's back in the driver's seat. And we just got some development information for you. The Shelby County bill is still not out of committee. I'm keeping an eye on that. Private sewer regulation in Shelby County, Alabama.
You people in Baldwin County should be paying attention to that one too. That may pave the road to some sort of regulation that we can get done here.
And I hate Rains isn't here, but the Auburn Plainsman, the university student newspaper, goes to print for the final time. It goes online from henceforth.
1 by 1.
150 something years.
It's hard to print now, more than you think. I got to respect Lanyap for being able to put out a publication like that every week. I don't think anybody really knows just how damn hard that is.
So last week, the Congress held reparation hearings, and this week, Barack Obama came out and said that they are justified. And I said, well, maybe they're looking for a good lawyer in the Turk and Caicos. You ever been there? Beautiful diving.
I hadn't been to Turk and Caicos, but I did hear about it.
All right. So my favorite topic, Clearview AI.
Man, I saw a fantastic AI documentary on World TV. Any of you that get that, and talking about China's ability and what they're doing with AI, they expect to catch up to the United States within 4 or 5 years.
Investigating police use of facial recognition technology.
We have confirmed Mobile police have used it. We have also uncovered Alabama's contract with a controversial facial recognition developer, Clearview A1. Canada recently accused the company of violating federal privacy laws there, and a growing list of cities in the United States are banning police departments from using it.
NBC 15's Andrea Ramey investigates actions taken in the name of public safety versus your privacy rights.
Clearview AI CEO told us that Alabama embraced their technology early on and have used it to solve a variety of crimes. Now, Alabama lawmakers are looking to regulate facial recognition technology. For years, investigators in crime dramas have caught bad guys using facial recognition technology.
Now it's how the chief of police figures out who's knocking his wife off while he's at work.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Turns out it's not the stuff of fiction. Law enforcement agencies across the country, including here in Alabama, use it.
I'm good with surrendering violence to the police, but not privacy, because it's a bunch of people that I don't trust to do the right thing. Do you?
Well,
with no oversight. There's no oversight.
The body.
Sergeant Jason Webb, a supervisor at a crime center east of Birmingham, used Clearview AI to help identify Capitol riot suspects and turn that information over.
So a guy in Birmingham at a little bitty pissant police department, within moments of all this stuff going live, used Clearview AI, and he's emailing the FBI saying, I've identified all these people.
Over to the FBI.
If you get a video of a crime that's committed, or a picture of a crime that's committed,
or you see somebody leaving the same time your ex-wife does from a restaurant,
I'm telling you, man.
you can just pull out your phone and find out who they are.
The ultimate goal is to identify the offender.
And this is not like the National Crime Law Enforcement, the NCIC, where you have to put in a code every time you use it. This is a private company that only contracts with law enforcement. Oh, and Ashton Kutcher has a copy of it.
And they were
And it's one of those
garnering
things that helps us
data.
identify the offender.
They stole the data from all of our
has come under
Facebook
intense
pages.
scrutiny. Since it was revealed last year, it scraped billions of images off Facebook and other social media sites to build its database. Investigators use to identify suspects, images you may have uploaded that police are using unbeknownst to you. Company CEO tells NBC 15 News, quote, Clearview AI only collects publicly available data from online sources.
Now that's a dude, okay? And let me be very clear about what I think about the Chinese.
Oh, come on,
They
man.
their entire economy is based on piracy. They're thieves. They're pirates.
Do not get hung up on this, please.
Sources. Records NBC 15 News uncovered show Alabama's Department of Public Safety has paid Clearview AI $200,000 in the last 2 years. How widespread its use is across the state isn't clear. Aaliyah.
So do you think they should have to disclose if they've used it on you personally?
I think they have to disclose whatever.
Oh, they
I
don't
mean,
have
if
to
we're-
disclose jack squat, Paul Rip.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what
Which
you
is
gotta
why I'm
change.
saying it should
Look.
be illegal to use this technology.
Refused to provide a
I
copy
know,
of the
but it
contract
does
or respond to our
in
questions.
circumstances
What I'll
work
tell
quite
you is that
well.
we've looked to try to engage facial recognition software.
In Mobile, Chief Lawrence Batiste says facial recognition technology has been used in cases.
It's not part of our day-to-day operation to utilize facial recognition.
Careful about the word, not day to day, so it hasn't been used.
So we've looked at it in certain cases.
Cases where a suspect had already been identified. Batiste says when they compared it to facial recognition results, they found it wasn't reliable enough to use.
We don't want to create bad case law here.
I feel humiliated to be getting arrested.
Detroit police wrongly arrested Robert Williams in front of his family, detained him overnight back in 2018. after investigators used one blurry image of a shoplifter to run through a facial recognition.
And then so let's say that happened to Paul Rip, or even better, let's say it happened to Jimmy the Town Drunk. We accidentally got a hit on something that we have no record of, which is why we came to your house. But now that we're here, we found all this contraband, so you're going to prison.
No, I'm not going down the rabbit hole.
Not Clearview AI. It suggests
When lawyers tell you you should be scared about a public policy, you better listen to me.
Matched with Williams' driver's license photo.
I looked at the paper and it honestly made me chuckle. I said no, that's not me. So I picked that one up sarcastically and put it to my face. And I said, I hope you don't think all black people look alike. And dropped it back on the table. And he flipped the third piece of paper, irritated, and said, so I guess the computer got it wrong.
It was wrong. Detroit police later apologized. It's one of 3 known cases, the ACLU says, where police use facial recognition to make an arrest and unlawfully detain innocent black men. In one of those cases, investigators did use Clearview AI. Sergeant Webb says the problem isn't the technology, it's sloppy police work. As for their policy, Webb says they have to corroborate a facial recognition hit with other evidence before making an arrest.
It's just one of those things that goes in our toolbox to help us try to make this world a safe place.
Oh my God.
I'm not going
That is
there.
the biggest lie. Anyone who would give up their liberty for what? Security?
There are applications, but I'm just not.
It's
gonna
not a
get
cliche because I said it, Paul.
Well, I know, but I mean,
Images
there's
is also a concern
applications.
for
It's gonna
some
happen,
Alabama
man.
lawmakers who are now
I mean,
considering
seriously.
a law that would prohibit an arrest based solely on facial recognition evidence.
Right.
Thank you for bringing this bill, Senator Orr.
Not in Alabama.
Because not only and I was just telling the gentleman back in the back, not only do he think we all look alike, not the darn computer think we all look alike.
Clearview AI CEO told us in a statement that Alabama's used their technology to solve crimes including human trafficking, drug trafficking, financial fraud, and crimes against children. To read the full statement and see the ACLU's petition to ban law enforcement from using.
It's not the good things that it does. It's all the abuses.
Well,
and the fact that privacy is over with if this stands. You got to be kidding me.
Above my pay grade.
You got
today.
shot at so that Al Talbert up in Bay Minette can track you in real time everywhere you go. If you happen to be connected to CCTV.
If they got it up there, they can. I know you can't go anywhere.
I know.
Tampa.
I got a chainsaw and I'm gonna cut down every power pole with a damn camera on it.
I know where you won't be next week.
Well, actually, I don't have a chainsaw anymore.
Facial recognition technology, head to our website, mynbc15.com. In Mobile, Andrea Ramey, NBC 15 News.
Well, damn. The Mobile press is only how many months behind us, Paul? We've been talking about this for a while. A good while.
Yeah, and that's going to be the subject of conversation.
And I'm going to keep beating y'all over the head with it until everybody gets how dangerous this is.
Well, it's no more dangerous than some of the data collecting that they're doing. I mean, you know,
it's the fact that law enforcement's using it, Paul. It's the government's use of ill-gotten information. It's insanity. The facial recognition software company Clearview AI is willing to go all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court to prove that its alleged violation of Illinois' biometric data privacy law is not an issue. And the reason is these people have no standing. You like that?
Well,
isn't that cute?
We'll see.
Okay, time to bring it back down. It's time for some good news. Like I said, we'll talk about it some more. Nearly 6 months after winning a second 4-year term in office during a contested municipal election, Place 4 City Councilman Robert Brown resigned suddenly at Monday night's Fairhope City Council meeting, stating he has a one-time opportunity to move his family outside the city limits.
And resigned the same night. Boom, done, out the door.
So Mr. And
That's
he
not a
has,
resignation. That's quitting.
and he has already suggested a successor.
Correct. Mr. Jay Robinson, who didn't even run the last time. And the other challenger I was trying to think of was Howell Gibbons. Howell Gibbons and Joshua Gammon and Deb are the ones that ran the last time, and their names didn't even come up. They didn't even consider anything. And here's the other thing. Mr. Burrell is stating in a meeting that everybody kind of agreed on Robinson. Well, if it was such a shock that night, how could they have already got together and agreed on Robinson?
Paul, it's a script. They just reading off the script, man.
I'll tell you another thing that happened that night that people in Fairhope really need to be looking at. We were talking about a minute ago, the archery range. Ever since they got their hands on the triangle, there's been a segment of people that really want that to go into a conservation easement. Basically, it's a political argument. One of the big donors to Catalyst does not want that developed. And so the conservation easement is the big thing they're trying now. But this is on a property that's probably worth $20 million. So you look at your kids right now, you better not tie up a piece of property in 20 years from now that you might want to put a performing arts center on, or something, or a museum or something of that nature. So the first thing was an archery range, and that failed. That went down the tube. Then the next thing, and that was proposed by Mr. Brown, was the mountain bike trail. And then I think they did some research and they could not find the mountains. So that kind of went down the tubes. So now the thing is that they're going to have a trail, a 1.5-mile trailhead, parking area, and bathroom facilities. This is the beginning of setting it up for a conservation easement. Don't go to sleep, Fairhope. You're going to see a $20 million piece of property just go poof. As far as Mr. Brown goes, I'm saying in the next week or so, in fact, I'll bet anybody $1,000. Then the next week or so, we're going to find out a lot more information about why his departure was absolutely so sudden. Anyway, the also in Fairhope, it's just development crazy. I mean, you talk about embracing development. They are 3-story, 225,000 square foot main building is going in for the reserve at Fairhope, 168 unit assisted living and memory care facility. That's going to be a huge building. Let's see, that was at the southeast corner of Greeno Road in Volanta. Then the council laid over a resolution to raise garbage and trash collection. This is one of the things that you just have to laugh about. 25 years they've been talking about this, up and down, about the garbage, not knowing what to do. And we're only talking about an increase of about $5 a month. And they'll just wear this thing down to where it looks like they're the heroes for not going up, or whatever the rate is. It's just bizarre to me that they get hung up on these little things. And the city also approved a memorandum of understanding to host the Fairhope Arts and Craft Festival. They put it off now till August 30th through May 2nd. It's kind of like trying to put a circle in a square. They've had to put this off for pandemic over and over again. And so I don't know that that's going to come across. The Eastern Shore Repertory Theater also reserves same right at Henry George Park. And that's April 29th through May 9th for the production of the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, I'm just going to go cut you off and say nobody gives a shit.
That was by Gabe Time.
So let's, some news for some of my buddies, because my pod and the Mark has the house across the street, Callahan's Irish Pub.
Right.
Hard luck will be closed for St. Patrick's Day.
That's that's hard luck.
That is hard luck.
I mean, that's I know there's a lot
Got
of
some
people.
more good news, national news. Ex Olympics gymnastic coach offs himself the day he's supposed to show up for court for
Yeah, I saw that.
molesting children.
Did you?
Thanks for taking the garbage out yourself.
Really?
So, do you know what's missing from this photograph?
What? Oh, the
10 Commandments.
10 Commandments.
Yes.
Yeah.
More good news.
Right.
So I want to talk about. I wish Raines was here. You ever heard of Trey Lewis? Did you read this article? Not safe for work hit launches country artist career.
Right. This is in Lanyap.
So I guess the song's called "Deed Down in Dallas" is the best way I can say it without getting in trouble. And he has a concert at Soul Kitchen, 219 Dolphin Street, February 26th at 7:30. The hell, that's tonight.
Right.
Tickets are $15 to $29.
No, 26 today. Tomorrow night, 27th.
Indeed. Another article in the Lanyap. An entirely recognizable film, particularly around here. I think this is on Netflix. The map of tiny perfect things.
Right.
The a film shot here in Baldwin County, and you might recognize some people and some places in that. Now, one of my favorite stories that they started doing a sports section in here,
right?
And I'll never forget when I was at Auburn, our coach resigned and got a $700,000 golden parachute, and I never got over it. I almost quit school over it. And so this article, former Auburn president steered Auburn athletics into the weeds. Former Auburn University president Steve Leith has a degree in plant science. Super agent Jimmy Sexton has an unofficial doctorate in making people with plant science degrees look foolish during contract negotiations. And he's talking all about the millions of dollars that Gus Malzahn walked away with, and will keep paying for having incompetent people, both on the board at Auburn and in positions of power. Did you read this article about the new twist, the coronavirus variants emerge as so this article, and I trust Dale and Gabe, but their source it says the Mobile County Health Department has confirmed that both the Pfizer and Moderna COVID-19 vaccines are effective against the variant first identified in the United Kingdom. The variant B117 was recently identified in Mobile County. Well, if the WHO hasn't said that it's effective against it, and neither has the manufacturer, and neither has the CDC, just who in the hell is the Mobile County Health Department to say that it is?
I don't know. Call them.
I don't know. Anyway,
that's the one.
Maybe that's a letter to the editor. Since I'm being so contrary today.
Really?
Yeah. So guess what else? We got honeypotted by Buttigieg. Remember we watched his confirmation hearing, and the guy from Mississippi said, "You gonna come down and ride the train?"
Right.
Well, guess what? He loosely footballed us, and this is called off track passenger rail proposal pulled for now, and that's an article in the Lanyap by Dale Leash.
Right.
Another good one.
This is Mobile City Councilman Joel Davis is quoted as saying the short-term railroad from Mobile to New Orleans is an amusement park on wheels. It just goes to show you the backwardness of not realizing the value in tourism. Sure, it is a party. People like to ride on a train, but there's people ride on a train because they can't afford a plane. So, I mean, a train service would be very, very good. And it's absolutely unreal in 2021 that you can't get a train from here to New Orleans. Come on, give me a break. So it's, and this is Mobile councilmen arguing with each other, yang with each other over the damn train.
Says it's a rich man's novelty.
Rich man, my ass. Riding a train, give me a break.
It's expensive. Have you looked at this? We were talking about going to DC a few years ago for spring break, and it was way cheaper to fly than it was to take the train. course, that's a pretty good
That's a
piece.
That's a big.
That's
hop.
a 13.5 hour drive from here to DC
And
for
you
sure.
see where they had a little bit of shake up there at Austell?
Yeah, so there's a federal investigation. Remember, they came in and raided the place with a search warrant back in 2019, and it turns out that, you know, when you have a contract with the federal government and the federal government gives you billions of dollars to build littoral combat ships,
right?
And when you deliver them, they aren't the way they're supposed to be, like
Well,
all these valves and other things.
Well, the big issue on this was WIP reports, work in progress reports, because they're getting the money on draws, and the draws are based on the work in progress reports. And some of those were showing things were done that weren't done, and they were collecting a little bit ahead of it. But, you know, they have now just a $100 million contract that's just come up. And the littoral ship is really quite a fine vessel. So there will be a shakeup. One will go, another one will come, and we'll see what happens. But you're dealing with the federal government. It's not going to be easy. So
did you see where they said in the article that the Navy was committed to working with Austell? Right now, the littoral combat ships are made out of aluminum.
Right.
And there's a movement afoot to allow them to start making steel-hulled vessels for the Navy.
I think the aluminum would be far better. Did you see the caught on camera Mobile woman charged in the role of the insurrection?
You know what? If you're dumb enough to go into that thing, I got no sympathy for you.
Well, one thing that they did come up with was some statistics I heard, and that was like 10,000 people had marched down to in front of the Capitol. And as far as people that went inside, it was estimated at about 800. And I'd been wondering that for weeks. That's the first time I'd heard those figures. But anyway, it's our third Alabamian charged in the insurrection.
All right, I got a good one. The Beltway beat by Jeff Poor.
Yeah.
He and I hardly ever see eye to eye, but he did bring up a good issue. Last week, the Club for Growth. Are you familiar with the Club for Growth, Paul? They're a political action committee.
Yeah.
They put out a scorecard measuring the Alabama legislature on two metrics: attendance and grade the members' voting record on what it deemed to be pro-growth legislation. Anyway, they go on into the fact that talking about the fact that home rule is denied counties. And it's kind of what I call a government on training wheels. You know, the county can do certain things, but they got to go ask mama if they can cross the street. You know what I mean?
Right.
So they got to go back to the Alabama legislature for a special general act of local application or constitutional amendments continuously, which is why we have the longest and the worst constitution in the state of Alabama. And this is another good reason, another good article. If you can wrap your mind around it, it will explain to you why the Constitution of 1901 is a millstone around your neck, and you should do everything you can to get rid of it.
Right. And Hidden Agenda, Ashley Trice, what are the odds? She goes into the gaming, which is supposed to be 5 to 7 casinos, bringing 300 million to 400 million per year, with an additional 10 million per year in sport betting. Now, I like this division here. 65% of the first 1 billion would go to expanding broadband. 25% would go to rural healthcare services, and then 10% would provide for mental health services. After the first billion, it would be distributed like this: 25% to the general fund, 25% to rural health, 25% to maintain IT infrastructure, 15% for mental health, and 10% for infrastructure improvements to municipalities and counties without gaming facilities. Now, those are all a plus of gambling, and yet the chances of it going through are slim to none. And if it does, it'll be in 2023. That's Ashley Trice with the Hidden Agenda. And damn the torpedoes, Rob Holbert has big tech made us better. what a debatable thing that is. Here we are talking about AI and all of that. So that's a pretty good article, his opinion on it. Catch Your Lagniappe, the cover story. And Harry, I don't know this gentleman because I don't follow that. Former USA superfan JT Crabtree transitions from the stands to the broadcast booth by Tommy Hicks, basketball broadcasting. So if you know Mr. Hicks and you're following any type of basketball in that area, you might want to read the cover story. As far as Lagniappe goes, you can pick it up, get it online. You can get it free in some of the mailboxes around town and everything. Those of you in Fairhope, I encourage you to participate in your city government because if you don't, you're going to be sorry later. I don't got too much more there to add.
One more I want to do again. History in the making. Officials break ground for Africatown Heritage House.
Yeah.
Officials for the city, county, and state gathered Thursday to break ground on a future facility that will house an exhibit telling the story of Africatown and the Clotilda, the last ship carrying enslaved Africans to the U.S. With a groundbreaking ceremony taking place at the Robert Hope Recreation Center, construction can begin on the planned 5,000 square foot Heritage House Museum, which is set to house an exhibit telling the story of the schooner Clotilda and the community that sprung from those 110 captive souls upon it. So there was a groundbreaking. There's a picture with a bunch of people turning over soil.
And there's another one coming up too. There's another part of it that will be later on in the year.
All right. So you and I are both divers. You got a few more dives under your belt than I do. And out here in the Gulf of Mexico, we have oil platforms.
Right.
And, this is typically what they look like up close and personal. I can tell you, you don't want to be much closer than that,
Right.
especially if it's a big swales. And then this is a view very few people get to see. The looking up,
and very typical
on a structure that is very typical.
A lot of bait fish.
So here's so there's a proposal afoot to topple in place all these oil rigs and leave them there for anglers.
Right.
And so right now, do you remember what they call that munitions deposit area out there just west of the shipping lane?
Oh,
it's where all the Sherman tanks are.
Right. I know what you're talking about.
It's not quite the Chrysler grounds because you're still in like 90 feet of water when you get to the first tank.
Right.
So anywhere from 90 to about 120, which means you get like maybe 25 minutes bottom time max. A lot of these other rigs, with the structure coming up, you don't have to go as deep and you get more dive time.
I wonder what depth they drop them in though.
Oh, it just depends on where they are.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. Well, the artificial reefs, believe it or not, a lot of people don't realize this, but most of the artificial reefs programs for diving and everything started in Panama City, Florida. And then it kind of worked its way here, real popular in the late 60s.
But that's another real typical view. And of course, those are not red snapper.
No, that is a type snapper, though.
Yeah, it's a little beeliner. And then, of course, the people catch marlin out there, sailfish, whatever. And look at that damn thing.
Yep.
How much do you think the Japanese would pay for that old fish fresh like that?
I don't know.
A bunch.
That's a nice one, though.
So did you enjoy the podcast, Paul?
Oh, yeah. See what happens next, what kind of car race or who resigns or who gets in office or who does what.
I don't know.
It's like I told you, the guy called me and he said, what the hell is going on in Fairhope? He said, it's bizarre. He said, that town is crazy. He said, where does all that drama come from? And I said, man, that's the political system of Baldwin County, baby.
Is that right?
That's it. Catalyst. Catalyst. They're in control. They got something to do with that resignation.
Yeah, he
I
did. So
guarantee you.
that letter
Or they
was
quit.
actually sent before the governor
All right, let's listen
signed
to
that
this for a
almost
sec.
800-page bill into law. Chief Delmore calls it a mess and that it's dangerous for law enforcement agencies across the country.
Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker calls the new police reform law a transformative step forward. That's not how Gulf Shores Police Chief Ed Delmore sees it.
The war is over and the good guys lost.
In an open letter to the Illinois governor, Delmore expressed his disappointment over his home state's insistence on reactive and not proactive law enforcement.
And it was really a tongue-in-cheek thank you for sending me your good people.
Delmore says the exodus of law enforcement has already begun.
We've gotten a lot of applicants in the lead up to this. And
You know what I think? I think this guy's got way too much time on his hands. That's what I think.
I think he needs to practice in Gulf Shores and stay out of some other state's business personally. That's up to him.
All right. Well, that's the Backstory Podcast for this time. What you doing this weekend, Mr. Rip?
I'm going to take down a building.
You being paid to do that? Or
Oh,
like
no.
pastime of yours?
I'm doing it for nothing, man.
All right. Well, y'all have a good weekend.
Be safe. Wear a mask.